April Leader College Conference Call with Achieving the Dream. This is Mary Cipollone, Achieving the Dream's graduate intern. Thank you all for joining us today. We are going to start by having the Achieving the Dream staff on the phone introduce themselves. Rachel Singer will be joining us shortly, but Sarah, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah Hollister, Associate Director of Programs here at Achieving the Dream, and working with Leader Colleges in particular, as well as overseeing the grants program.
Great. And as I mentioned, I am Mary Cipollone, and I'm a graduate intern with Achieving the Dream, calling in today from Ann Arbor, Michigan. All right, just going to take a second to go over the agenda for today's call. The first thing we're going to do is spend a couple of minutes going over the GoToWebinar technology to make sure everybody knows how to use that. The next thing we're going to do is the Leading by Example segment that we do every month to highlight the good work of our leader colleges. Then we're going to spend 5 quick minutes on Achieving the Dream business. I added that to the front of the agenda this week so we can have plenty of time for our main conversation, which, as you all know, is the Walmart Press for Completion grant. And Sarah Hollister from Achieving the Dream will be explaining to us more about this grant program as well as the request for proposals that goes along with the grant. Okay, so I know we have a lot of first-time participants on the call today, so let's just take a quick minute to go over the technology. We use webinars for these monthly calls to make sure we have an interactive forum that everybody can participate in. Everybody should see a control panel that looks like this on your screen. If you do not see that, it's probably because it's been minimized, and this little grab tab here, B, can be pressed to reopen that panel. The next thing I'll call your attention to is the attendee list. On that list, you can see the names of all 43 participants that are on today's call. Additionally, right here, you see a little hand, and that is where you can raise your hand to join the conversation. So that's if you want to ask a question, you have a comment, at any time you just click on that button. I will see that you're raising your hand and invite you to join the conversation. Can we just have everybody go ahead and raise their hands now so I can see that we all know how to use that? Great. I see a bunch of hands going up. Awesome. Okay, good. Looks like we know how to do that. And then additionally, another way to join the conversation is through this questions pane. So you can type a question right into that box. It'll come to me, and then I can read that question or comment aloud for discussion. Finally, the last thing I'll mention is occasionally we've had a little bit of audio trouble where people are trying to speak and they can't be heard. If for some reason we can't hear you, just make sure that you haven't muted your personal phone. Make sure you've entered the audio pin that you see in your control panel. And then worst case scenario, you can always hang up and call back in, and that will help us make sure everyone can hear you. Okay, so the next thing on our agenda is Leading by Example. You see on the screen a new report released in March by Jobs for the Future called Launching Early College District-Wide. And we wanted to recognize South Texas College for collaborating with Jobs for the Future on putting this report out. It highlights an innovative partnership with a local school district, and this is a great example of the kind of work we hope Leader Colleges will continue to do to share all of their good work with the larger student success community. We also would like to thank all of the Leader Colleges who are involved in the AACC convention in April. We know there's going to be great Achieving the Dream representation at that event, and we wanted to give a shout out to our Leader Colleges for all their hard work in preparing for that convention. Now we just have a couple quick items of Achieving the Dream business before we get to our main topic. The first item we have here are the choices for the Leader College conference calls. We sent you a poll to get feedback about what topics you wanted to hear about, and on the screen you see your top 5 choices. So you can look forward to hearing about these topics in the coming months. If anybody has any other feedback about topics or is interested in participating in any of the calls on these topics, please feel free to send me an email. It's mcipollone@achievingthedream.org. And the last point of business is to remind everyone about the NISOT Achieving the Dream pre-conference session. This is on Sunday, May 27th, and Dr. Belinda Miles and Dr. Lydia Tana have been working hard to put together an excellent workshop and roundtable discussion about acceleration and developmental education. It's going to be a really great opportunity for Achieving the Dream faculty, and we hope a lot of you will register. You can register by emailing Aaliyah Wilson. You can see that right on the slide there. And through April 15th, this registration is available to leader colleges only. It's a free opportunity. After April 15th, if there are still spots open, we're going to extend the invitation to all of Achieving the Dream colleges. So we encourage you to register as soon as possible to make sure you get a spot. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to email me that. And now we're going to turn to our main presentation, the Walmart Press for Completion Grant Program. And I'm going to hand it over to Sarah Hollister to tell you more about that.
Hi, everyone. Again, thanks so much for taking time out of your day to join us to discuss the Walmart Press for Completion Grant Program. Just so you know, I'm going to do a brief overview of the grant program. Pretty much nothing that's in this presentation is anything that can't be found in the press RFP documents that are posted on the Achieving the Dream press website. So I'm really going to move through this presentation pretty quickly so that we can have some more time and opportunity to address any questions or feedback you might have. Because I hope to move through this quickly and get to your questions, I am asking that you'll hold your questions until the end. Next slide. You can just bring it all up, Mary. So I did just want to point out that the Press Grant Program is part of a larger growing initiative here at Achieving the Dream to provide ATD institutions with grant opportunities. So many of these will be offered to leader colleges because we really recognize that you've demonstrated success and that the leader colleges are really poised to move to the next level of reform. Next slide. And you can bring it all up every time, Mary. So here you'll see a list of the grant opportunities so far. You want to keep your eyes open for more opportunities in the future. And now let's go on and talk about the Walmart Press for Completion grant. So as you all know, the purpose of this grant is to deepen faculty and staff engagement and to prepare the selected institutions to become peer coaches to other Achieving the Dream institutions in the area of faculty and staff engagement. The development of the peer coaching framework will really be a collaboration between Achieving the Dream and the selected institutions. So we'll be drawing on the expertise and experience of the selected institutions to determine how best to transfer best practices and lessons learned regarding this work to other Achieving the Dream institutions. Next slide. Here you'll just have the basics, basically, of the grant. We'll have up to 15 recipients. Awards will be $100,000 over 27 months, and up to $10,000 of this can be used for the institution's Achieving the Dream participation fees. Active leader colleges are eligible to apply, and priority will be given to those leader colleges that can show improvement over the last 3 years on 2 or more of the 5 Achieving the Dream student success metrics. And of course, Achieving the Dream will provide technical assistance. Next slide. Just a few specifics. These are some of the actions that recipient institutions will complete. Again, there's nothing here that's different from what you all have probably reviewed in the RFP. But you will form work groups of faculty, including adjuncts and student services staff, implement strategies to increase faculty and staff engagement, and you will be looking at newer revised policies to increase student success outcomes. Next slide. Again, a little bit more of the specifics. Tracking inputs, outputs, outcomes, evaluating your work, participating in learning events. We go to the next slide. Here's just some details on your proposal submission. So the RFP is posted. You all should have been able to access it. There's the URL link right there. The RFP is posted at the same URL link where you will upload your proposals. So we will soon have directions there on this page by April 11th about how to upload your proposals. And April 11th is when we'll start accepting submissions. The final due date for submissions will be May 11th, 2012 at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. I do ask that you read the entire RFP document carefully, including the sections before the proposal narrative. This will allow us to ensure that proposals meet the expectations of the grant program. Next slide. So the selection process, once Achieving the Dream has all the proposals, we will review it, and grant recipients will be announced by June 8th, 2012. There will be a kickoff at the end of June, June 24th to 26th in the Washington, D.C. area, and each institution that receives a grant will send at least 5 representatives or their leadership team to present their plans and receive feedback from other recipient institutions. There will also be an opportunity to meet with Achieving the Dream staff and technical assistance advisors about the work and talk about baseline and outcome measures. Next slide. I promised this would be quick so we could get to your questions, and so I do want to open up to your questions. But first, I also want to say that any feedback in general you have about the RFP process, we hope that you would pass that along. So as we're crafting RFP processes in the future, we can make sure that it's really a seamless process for you. That being said, I think we're ready to move to questions.
Thanks, Sarah. I had one question earlier about where to submit the proposal. I had a participant asking for an email address, and my understanding was you said there is a website where they will upload their proposals to. Is that correct?
Exactly, yeah. The same website that you've downloaded the RFP document from, there will be, starting April 11th, a link there that will allow you to upload your proposal documents.
Great. And Brian Hayden is asking, what will becoming a peer college coach involve?
Great question. Again, this will really be developing what a peer college coach is, will really be a collaboration between Achieving the Dream and the institutions that receive the grant. So there are a lot of different ways that colleges are already helping to spread good work, and we want to get together with the recipients and understand how this is being done, how Achieving the Dream can best support this work, and develop exactly what that will look like from there.
Great. And go ahead, Rachel.
Mary, hi. Sorry, this is Rachel Singer, and just in addition to that, we'd like for colleges to think about ways that they have internally been able to make strides in faculty engagement, working across departments between academic affairs and student services, and how they can take that work and work that they can show that there's been some movement on in specific ways, and work with other schools and get other schools to move that work forward as well. So the engagement could be twofold. It could be within the college, moving to a higher level, and we're looking at it even more specifically at working with, possibly working with other colleges as well.
And Rachel, I didn't know you had joined. Do you want to say anything else about the grant program? Or?
No, we'll keep moving along if people ask questions. That's great.
Okay, great.
Okay, I have hand raised by Maxine Singleton. Maxine, I am going to go ahead and unmute you. And Maxine, you should be able to join us now.
Yes, I wanted to know how many leader colleges are there at this point, and how do we know if we're current or not?
Yes, right now we have 50 active leader colleges. If you're unsure about your status, whether you're active, meaning whether all the participation fees have been spent or been submitted, you can go ahead and drop me an email, and I will look into it for you.
Yeah, the other thing you can do is on the Achieving the Dream website, under Network, you can see a list of all the Achieving the Dream institutions, and next to your name, it'll indicate whether you're an active leader college also.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Maxine. Leah wanted to know if this PowerPoint will be available on the Achieving the Dream website. Leah, I will send this PowerPoint out after our phone call, and it will also be, the whole webinar will be recorded. And, sorry. Okay. The whole webinar will be recorded and put up on our YouTube channel. And all our monthly Achieving the Dream Leader College calls are on our YouTube channel, so you can re-listen to them and re-look at the slides after we finish our calls. Okay. We have another question here. James Hodges. James, I'm going to unmute you. You should be able to go ahead now, James.
Hi, thank you. I think Rachel may have actually answered this. I was hoping you would define exactly what you mean by faculty engagement. Our question was, are you looking at engagement strategies within the classroom or just engagement strategies of getting faculty involved? But it looks like it could be D, any of the above.
Yeah, it can be. What we're looking for, I think, in a bigger way, and Sarah, chime in at some point on this as well. What we're looking for are for our leader schools who have been doing this good work to raise the bar on that work in terms of faculty engagement at all levels. If your school has a particular initiative or a particular project that they're working on that has shown good results in terms of faculty engagement in the classroom among and between faculty and students, that's wonderful. And what we'd like to see is how that engagement spills over into the rest of the college, how it includes the student services area, how they're brought into the conversation, how they're brought into the engagement. In addition to which, are there lessons learned there that you can bring to other schools, either within your network, in your region or in your state, schools you may have been working with or you have relationships with, that you can begin building some of that elsewhere. But we're really looking for work that you've already been doing that you really want to build up. We're not necessarily, at the heart of this, we know that the leader colleges have been doing work above and beyond what some of the other schools have done. So we want to look for that good work and try to move that good work forward.
Great, thank you.
Does that answer your question?
Absolutely, thank you.
Great, thanks.
I have a question from Joyce Romano. Joyce wants to know, can the grant funds be used for facility renovation?
No. Facility renovation, Sarah, was the question. I don't think they can be, no.
I don't think so. There's there's a paragraph that says exactly what the funds could be used for in the RFP, and if it's not within the parameters of those guidelines given there, then no.
Okay, Joyce says thank you. Does anybody else have questions or comments about the grant program or the request for proposal process? And I don't know if Sarah or Rachel, you had anything else you wanted to add while people are submitting more questions.
Well, this is Rachel again. I would just like folks to start thinking about, and maybe they could talk about it here a little bit or give us some information about what kind of activities have been going on at your campus that you feel might fit into this category, that you're willing to share, that you're able to share at this point, and we can get into possibly the notion of whether that's something that you can move to other campuses, or whether that's something that you want to grow on your own campus additionally, further.
Yeah, and this is Sarah. I just want to clarify that, we're really, we're looking at you guys looking at these wonderful strategies, deepening them to a point where, you are able to then engage a wider audience on your campus to really, in this reform work. You'll see that there is a timeline of events, and that your proposals will be within that timeline. And we think it's a really great opportunity to take what you're doing and kind of take it to the next level.
Great. I have a few more questions coming in. Brian Hayden asks, how do we identify the 2 student success stories?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that, Mary?
Yeah. I think I understand what he's talking about. I have a feeling he's asking how, so there are 2, priority will be given to leader colleges that are able to show success on 2 of the Achieving the Dream student success measures. And there's actually a pretty standard way that we do that. We do that in our annual reports. And what we've done is therefore asked, in our annual reports, we asked for you to show that for only 1 of the measures. And what we're asking here is for you to show it for 2 of the measures. And that is, you'll find that on page 11 of the RFP. So I think that if you understand the annual report question, and there are examples of how to respond to this question in the RFP and the annual report, that you will have no problem submitting the information for 2 measures.
Great. And I had somebody who wanted to know if there's a page limit to the proposal. And by the way, Brian said that answers his question. Thank you.
Okay, great. There is not a total page limit, but if you'll see that the proposal section where you actually talk about your work plan, there is a page limit of 10 pages. So including all the text that's already there, and your answers should be no more than 10 pages.
Well, the annual
for the work plan.
30th, and that, I think, will form the foundation for our grant.
Okay. So Joyce wants to know if they have to have a grant coach from ATD in the proposal.
I think that question is, do they have to allocate for funding for a technical assistance grant coach in the proposal? And no, the technical assistance will be provided by Achieving the Dream to a certain level. If the college wants to have additional coaching or additional assistance, maybe they want to bring in a facilitator, then they would need to put that in their budget.
Okay. And Bonnie Berry wants to know, should travel costs for attending the kickoff event be included in the grant budget?
That's a great question. It's really up to the college. The kickoff itself, Achieving the Dream will put on the kickoff. The travel and lodging will be covered by the recipient institutions. So an institution may want to hold a certain amount of money in their press for completion budget to cover these costs, or they might have some money in their normal operating budget that they would plan on using for that.
Okay, and Catherine Curran says, if we do not show success in 2 areas, should we not apply?
Only priority will be given to those leader colleges. I would recommend that each institution is different, and if you think you have a really strong proposal that we want to look at it and we want to see it, there's a whole range of things that will go into our decision. So I would encourage those that feel as if they have something to offer and something to move the needle on this work to apply.
And Erin Holland wants to know, did you, just to clarify, did you say the 10-page did you say the 10-page limit on the narrative includes the text that is already in the application?
I did.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions or comments? I don't see any. Okay, here's something from Tom James. Tom wants to know, will there be additional meetings more than the DC kickoff and DREAM meetings that will be required as part of the grant?
As of now, in terms of physical meetings, there's nothing else planned. So the meetings where you actually have to send someone are the DREAM meetings and the kickoff meeting. But of course, there will be various types of conference calls and webinars that we might do in order to make sure that the work is coordinated and that the recipients are learning throughout the process from other grant recipients.
Great. And I have David, David, I hope I pronounced your name correctly, would like to speak. David, I'm unmuting you, and you should be all set to go ahead and join the call.
Hi, yeah, this is Steve Roller with Montreal, along with David Levitt. Thank you. So as I understand, there are a couple of main components to this. There's the plan for completion, and then there's the peer coaching piece. I have a pretty good handle on the plan for completion, and that we could develop that pretty straightforward way. I don't have a good handle on the peer coaching piece. Can you give us some guidance on how intensive you expect the peer coaching to be? Is there like a frequency of contact or travel or communication? If this is a component that we should be budgeting for in the grant budget?
Rachel, do you want to take that, or you want me to?
Well, Sarah, why don't you answer the question about the budgeting, and I can field the question on the peer coaching.
Okay. You don't have to put in anything in your budget for the peer coaching part. This is really going to be, again, us working with the recipients to develop a model about how to best disseminate these practices. It could be that you have a college down the road that comes into Achieving the Dream, and they really want to take faculty and staff engagement to the next level. And we have these great experts now that you've been in the grant program, and we would, again, work with the colleges to develop what this would look like. And then, Rachel, you want to add some more about that? Or?
Sure. Yeah, and the most important piece in terms of peer coaching is to think about it in a large way, in a more global way in terms of your community, as opposed to in a narrow way in terms of the kinds of traditional peer coaching that's going on in colleges, which has often been faculty to students in small groups or one-on-one. What we're looking for in this is college-to-college peer coaching, taking good practices that have, and I know we're repeating ourselves, but it's the essence of what this grant wants to see, which is good practices that have been going on your campus in terms of faculty engagement, cross-collaborations between and among departments, and cross-collaborations and engagement of faculty and staff, how that's worked to deepen that on your campus, and then to coach other colleges around those same practices. Is that a little clearer?
I think I already remuted David after that question.
Okay.
Maybe someone can let me know via the questions pane if that question was answered well enough. I have a bunch more good questions coming in. Quadamak Roldan, I hope I didn't totally butcher your name, asked, should we budget for an evaluator, or will this be part of what the grant coach from Achieving the Dream will assist with?
I think that that we will assist a bit with how to go about evaluation, but you know, how you look at how you want to allocate your press for completion funds, you know, would definitely play into that. So I don't want to be prescriptive about it because each college is at a different place, and but if a college feels that that's the best way that they'll get some evaluation done on this work, then that might be a good step.
Great.
And leader colleges have been very good and practiced at doing some internal evaluation with institutional research and asking their data coaches for guidance on that. So that can be considered as well. So as Sarah said, we don't want to be prescriptive, but if the school feels that bringing in an evaluator would be helpful, then we do encourage it.
Great. Wilfredo Nieves, I see that you have your hand raised, but you are not connected to the audio, so you might need to call back in, or you can just submit your questions via the questions pane. I have a question here from Pamela Eddington. She wants to know, in addition to the criteria already mentioned, will grantees also be selected to balance for size of institution or region of the country?
Yes, you'll see, let me tell you exactly what page, but basically that is spelled out in the RFP and the selection criteria that we will be looking at various aspects and various factors when we make this decision. Region of the country could come into play. You know, multi-campus versus not multi-campus could. You know, we are ultimately hoping to get some great lessons learned, and a diverse group to learn from will be part of our decision.
Excellent. And Bonnie Berry would like to know, is this a one-time opportunity, or is it possible this will become an annual opportunity?
As of now, this is a one-time opportunity.
And I have to say, we're always looking for, when grants go out this way and we get some wonderful data that's related to it and some good practices that come forward, there's always an opportunity later on to, for Achieving the Dream, to look for grants to continue the good work. But as Sarah said, this one in particular is a one-time only.
Right, and as Sarah mentioned earlier in the call, this Walmart Press for Completion grant is one of the many grants that Achieving the Dream is hoping to offer. We had the Financial Capabilities Grant through Bank of America, and this is the second grant we're offering, and we're hoping to continue this in the future. So you will see more grant programs coming as well. Mary Kate Quinlan wants to know, if an institution is awarded the Press for Completion grant, will they be eligible for future grants?
Yes.
Straightforward. Good. John wants to know how many awards will be given out.
15.
Okay. And Erin would like to know, is there a listing someplace on the website that gives more detail than what is in the RFP as to what costs are allowed in the budget, i.e. indirect costs, etc.?
There's an explanation. Let me just find the page in the RFP of what you can use for the funds. It is on description of, yes, use of grant funds is found at the bottom of page 4.
Excellent.
And
if you have,
if that doesn't, yeah, if that doesn't answer your question, please, feel free to contact me, send me an email if that doesn't address your question.
Great. We have about 6 more minutes here if anybody has some more questions or comments. Here comes a question from Wilfredo. Can 2 ATD or DEI colleges work on the same initiative with 2 grants to experience the synergy of 2 institutions working on the same project?
This is Rachel.
Go ahead, Rachel.
Okay. I don't see why not. It would, of course, in the proposal, we have to look it over and see that the two institutions are really meeting the requirements of what the RFP is asking for. But if it's something innovative and new and can take some already established good work and move it forward, and they're working in a way so that they're raising the bar on the work and including more people and possibly bringing in other institutions to that as a team, I don't see why not. Sarah?
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. I don't see why, as long as the essence of the grant program and the expectations will be met, that it would be a problem.
Excellent. And Allison Todd wants to know, am I understanding correctly that the emphasis on engagement mentioned in the grant is between faculty and student services staff?
There is a large. Okay, go ahead, Rachel.
I know it's tough, Sarah. We're not raising our hands on our end, so I think that's one part of it. That's a really important focus, and as you read the RFP, you'll see it's mentioned in several places. That is what the grant is asking for: deeper collaborative faculty engagement between student services and faculty. But we're also asking, the grant also asks to further that in work outside of the college where it's doable with other schools. But the answer is yes. The answer is you are correct. It's deepening engagement between student services and faculty. Sarah, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, just that is something that's emphasized, as well as the engagement of adjunct faculty. The idea is, again, that you would implement some strategies and really deepen and broaden the work to engage more collaboration across the various student services staff and faculty, including adjuncts, to increase the impact of your reforms. And then as you're doing that, we'll prepare, hopefully, if you're not already ready, to think about how you would then take those lessons you learned through that process and bring it to other colleges as a way for them to also do that good work.
Yeah, and I do want to emphasize something that Sarah just said about working with adjunct faculty. That's going to be another area you will read in the RFP. That is something we're interested in, having more collaboration with adjunct faculty, more engagement with adjunct faculty, and so proposals who can outline that and have done work in that area will we will consider as being an area that's specific and special. You will be able to read that in the RFP as well.
Great. And Peg Moore would like to know, on page 5 of the RFP, it states, if grant funds are used to cover incremental costs, ... She wants to know, how are we defining incremental costs?
I think I might need a little bit more to go on there about, and I don't want to take up too much time of finding that on this page. So I might ask that if you could email me that question, just because I'm not exactly sure where on the page it is, and I don't want to give an incorrect answer.
Okay, we have time for a few more questions and comments if anyone else would like to jump in. I think there have been some great questions. I hope that it has helped clarify both the grant program and the request for proposals process for everyone that's on the call. Any other questions, comments? Rachel, Sarah, was there anything else you both wanted to add?
I just want to say, and this is, I think, a very exciting opportunity. We again, do see this as a collaboration with the institutions that get selected, as we do with everything here at Achieving the Dream. And I'm here for questions. Feel free to email me. And I'm excited that there's been such interest in this.
And I echo that as well, that we are very excited to see what our leader colleges begin to formulate, think about as this moves to the next phase, and we will be eagerly awaiting responses. And so we do encourage folks to really think about this in a deeper way in terms of their work, and to get their RFPs back to us in a timely way, so we can really think fully about choosing the colleges that will be involved.
Great. And as Sarah mentioned, and as you see on this slide, if you do have any questions, please feel free to send her an email at shollister@achievingthedream.org. Sarah, I'm going to move on to the evaluation poll. I didn't know if you had anything else you wanted to close with before I moved on.
Nope, that's it, Mary. Thanks so much.
Okay, great. So as we mentioned, this is one of the grant opportunities through Achieving the Dream's expanding grant program. And as Sarah mentioned, we're really going to be wanting your feedback on this. So we want to get first your feedback on how the webinar went for you today. I'm putting a poll up on the screen, and you should be able to choose as many options as you agree with. So you can go ahead and click right on that screen there if any of those statements, if you agree with any of those statements. So we're going to be providing formal opportunities for your feedback, but are also excited to get your emails, comments, what you see us, any input you have about how this program is working for you. I have about 60% of the colleges voting now. I'm going to let it go for about 30 more seconds to try and get everyone's opinions on here. 81%. Good. I'll give you a few more seconds. Okay. Okay, I'm going to close the poll and take a look at the results. So you can see on your screen that 74% of you feel that you now have a clearer understanding of the press RFP. 83% appreciated hearing more about the ATD grant program. 79% feel that their general questions were unanswered. And 10 and 17% of you still have some questions about the grant program and the RFP process. So as we mentioned, please reach out to Sarah with all your questions. She's excited to work with you to make this a great opportunity for everybody involved. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to do is just remind everyone that our May Leader College Conference call is on Thursday, May 3rd at 12:30 p.m. Our topic is going to be forming partnerships with K-12 schools and districts. And I know a lot of you are doing great work in this area. So I'm asking for volunteers to speak on this topic. We would be really excited to hear from some of the leader colleges that have not yet presented on a call. And I'm hoping to have the panelists finalized next week. So please send me an email this week or the early part of next week if you're interested in presenting. All I ask of the participants on the calls is that they put together a few slides for the presentation and are just prepared to speak for 10 to 15 minutes on the call, as well as field questions. So if you have questions about participating, you think you might want to present but have some questions before you commit, feel free to send me an email or give me a call. We can talk about that. But I'm excited to hear some new voices on the May call and look forward to getting volunteers. So thank you so much for your participation today. I hope it's been an informative opportunity for everyone, and we appreciate your time and look forward to hearing any other questions or comments you have about the grants program as well as these monthly Leader College calls. I hope everybody has a nice afternoon. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you, Mary.